Welcome back, guys, to some more fan-made levels on the Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. This level is called Gold Moles, and it was created by Need More Mushrooms on YouTube, or Daniel according to his nickname on his console. As you may have guessed from the name of the stage, you're going to have to deal with a bunch of Monty moles, and you're going to have to even act like a mole throughout the opening stretch of the stage. If you pass through the platform at the top of each section, then you won't be able to get back down and finish the level, so make sure that you stay under the platform the best that you can throughout the first area. This section has some thwomps with Monty moles on top of them. There will also be some fireballs coming at you from the right as you go a little deeper in. Obviously, just avoid them the best that you can. Try not to lose the cape because it can be really useful for some tight jumps here and there. Throughout this area, you'll have to cross a few firebar blocks in order to reach the next pipe, but if you have the cape, then you can just fly right over them. In this room, you'll have Bowser and Bowser Jr., both with giant Monty moles on top of them. Just use the cape to defeat any moles that get in your way and ignore Bowser and Bowser Jr. since there's no real reason to fight them. Climb the vines at the right side of the room to reach the pipe leading to the next section. We're pretty much on the final stretch of the stage now. Just head through the pipe on the far right if you want a star, man. Once you've gotten one, leave that room and enter the third pipe from the right to be at the end of the stage. If you're Rainbow Mario, then you don't have anything else to worry about. Just hop over to the goalpost to end the level. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Mutiny at Bowser's Jail, Escape, and it was created by Shark511151 on YouTube, or Michael according to his nickname on his console. If Mario were in a bullet hell type game, then this stage would definitely fit in. Each area is filled with enemies that can spam projectiles, and there's also a lot of enemies that you can't defeat. Pairing those type of enemies together makes things kinda tricky since the undefeatable enemies can protect the projectile spammers from your fireballs. For this section, I'd recommend getting against the left wall. Wait for the giant spike top to reach you and then spin jump on it to get a little higher. After that, just jump the rest of the way up. At the end of the area, you'll have to deal with 2 dry bones while the giant chain chomp and 2 thwomps get in your way. You can trick the thwomps into killing the dry bones by crushing them if you want. Obviously, you can also make them crumble for a short time by jumping on them as well. Throughout this area, I'd recommend climbing the stair formation by bouncing off of the enemies. Once you've reached the top, just run for your life. Plow right through all of the enemies and try to get to the door on the far left ASAP. There's a fire-breathing piranha plant in the pipe right here, but if you're quick, then it won't have the chance to do anything. After you get past the red cannon, the conveyors will be pushing you to the left. Just run along them until you get near the grinder and then jump. At the end will be a cannon. Jump on the bullet bill that it fires to get up and over it and then go through the door. For this area, you'll have to ride some skull lifts to the right. There's only lava below you, so the lifts are going to be the only solid ground that you'll have, so be sure to act quickly. Take out the magic Koopas the best that you can as you make your way to the right, because the last thing that you'll want is even more projectiles being thrown at you. Besides the magic Koopas, you'll also have to dodge Potaboos, flaming Cheeps, and cannonballs as well. Bowser Jr. is waiting for you at the far end of the area. Take him out as quickly as you can by jumping on him 3 times. Once he's been defeated, steal his clown car and fly to the upper left to find a door. The door will take you through a path that leads back to the beginning of the stage, which also just so happens to pretty much be the final stretch of the level as well. Once you're back at the start of the stage, you'll have 10 Lakitus throwing bob-bombs. I'd recommend quickly running all the way to the left because there's a pipe there that'll continually release fire flowers. It may be tempting to get Yoshi on the right side of the area, but it's actually much safer to just hang out near the fire flower pipe. If you get Yoshi, then you'll have to keep chasing him every time that you get hit, and that's not worth it at all because you're most likely going to be getting hit a lot throughout this part. Occasionally, the Sledge Brother might stun you. Don't worry too much about him. The bob-bombs will eventually take him out for you. Your goal in this area is to clear all of the unbreakable blocks off of the top of the pipe by using the bob-bombs. Wait for the right time and then try to kick one over there. After you've placed one, quickly run back to the pipe. Sometimes it can be kinda tricky to place a bob-bomb on the unbreakable blocks because there's so many of them walking around that there's a high chance that you might slam the one that you're carrying into one that's walking around, and that'll knock it out of your hands. Besides the Sledge Brother and the bob-bombs, you'll also have to deal with Bowser breathing fireballs at you during this segment as well. Like I said before though, just hang out near the fire flower pipe and you should be okay. Once you've cleared out enough bricks, grab one last fire flower and then quickly exit the area. After all that, the stage still isn't over. For this section you'll have to do some careful jumping to avoid falling into the endless pit below. After that you'll have to ride a clown car to the right while avoiding giant magic Koopas, flamethrowers, cannonballs, bullet bills, and various other enemies. Just avoid them the best that you can, try to squeeze through some of the tight spaces with cannons, and make a run for the goalpost. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Caution, Look Out for the Rebels, and it's the final stage in this part that I'm going to be playing that was created by Shark511151, aka Michael. Throughout this level you'll have Lakitus following you. It'll start off with just one, but more of them will join in as you progress deeper into the stage. Most of the Lakitus will throw spinies at you, but a few of them will toss power-ups. The ones that throw the power-ups are supposed to be the rebels that are talked about in the name of the stage. The level starts out innocent enough, but around the halfway point there's going to be a lot of Lakitus throwing stuff at you. On top of that, you're going to have a bunch of bloopers, Cheeps, bullet bills, and even Koopas trying to get you as well. I'd recommend getting the Fire Flower that's located right here, because it'll be the last power-up that you get before the rebels show up. Try your best to swim around most of the enemies. Take some of them out with fireballs if you need to. Once the rebels have showed up, then keep an eye on where they throw the power-ups, just in case you take a hit. It's almost better to just take hits and swim through everything while collecting the power-ups throughout this section because there's so much stuff coming at you that it's almost impossible to dodge everything. Besides fire flowers, one of the rebels will toss starmen down for you. Grab one if you can and then quickly make your way to the right. We're on the final stretch of the stage now. The flagpole is just a little further ahead. Alright, use this cloud and plow through everything. Time for the next level. The next stage is called Koopa's Airproof Plan, and it was created by Mr. Mario Sonic Man on YouTube, or Tommy according to his nickname on his console. Throughout the beginning of this stage you'll have a winged Bowser Jr. chasing you around. Just avoid him and keep heading to the right and use the cannonball to reach the upper platform. At the end of the stage is a battle against Bowser, but you can actually skip it if you duck and float as Raccoon Mario. Time for the next level. The next stage is called Boo's Playroom, and it was also created by Mr. Mario Sonic Man, aka Tommy. Hold up at the start of the stage to go through the door, and then time your jump well as you hop off of the falling platform to get a cape feather. If you manage to get the feather, then you can take a shortcut to the goalpost. Time for the next level. The next stage is called Extreme Cape Course, and it was also created by Mr. Mario Sonic Man, aka Tommy. Hop on Yoshi and use him to steal the clown car from the Wiggler at the beginning of the stage. Get a cape feather from the center block here, and then float down and abandon Yoshi once you've reached the endless pit. From here the stage becomes an obstacle course. Build up your speed and try your best to accurately fly through the area. Hop into the clown car once you've reached the end and take it up to the goalpost. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Fire Flower's Aid, and it's the final stage in this part that I'm going to be playing through that was created by Mr. Mario Sonic Man, aka Tommy. The objective in this stage is to find the Fire Flower as quickly as you can and then carefully make your way to the end of the level and use it to detonate the Bob-omb that's blocking the axe. There's an easier way to detonate the Bob-omb though. You just got to find the hidden block that contains a Podoboo. Use that to detonate the Bob-omb and then grab the axe to finish the level. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Cheep Barrage Beach, and it was created by Daniel Ostblom on YouTube, or Mr. Taco according to his nickname on his console. Obviously you're going to be putting up with a lot of Cheeps in this stage, as well as quite a few blurps. There will be a bunch of pipes and cannons that'll constantly fire the winged fish. I'd recommend staying as high as you can as you progress through the level. If you go near the bottom, then the fish are more likely to hit you, but if you stay up high then you don't have to worry about them nearly as much. You'll have to deal with quite a few Koopa paratroopers if you take the higher route, but they're easier to deal with than the winged fish in my opinion. Even though there's a lot of pipes and cannons that are firing fish, it's still not that threatening because they just fall down to the bottom of the stage anyway. We're on the final stretch of the level now. The goalpost is just up ahead. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Star Wars, and it was created by Pixel Gaming 500 on YouTube, or Chill according to his nickname on his console. There's a few power-ups for you to collect throughout this stage, but I actually find it a little easier to play through it as Small Mario. There are a couple of tight spaces that you'll have to slip through, and Small Mario has no problem doing that, whereas Super Mario or any other power-up would force you to duck to get through. It's not hard either way, though. I never quite understood why they chose to use a starry-looking background for the underground segments in Super Mario Bros. 3, but hey, it works for stages like this, I guess. We're about to come up to the checkpoint of the level. We're pretty much on the final stretch of the stage now. The last area before the goal will have a Dry Bones carrying a cannon and a fire bar for you to avoid. Bowser is also in this area and he may try to stun you, so be ready for that. All you really have to do is fall down and then climb back up and go through the door. Run to the right from here to be at the goal. There's only Starmen on this final stretch, so just keep on running. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Scary Aquarium, and it was created by the Hero Pawn on GameFAQs, or Chuck according to his nickname on his console. Throughout this area, just climb the bricks and hop on top of the giant structure and then enter the pipe to go inside of the aquarium. The aquarium isn't too big. You'll have to swim to the left a little bit and then swim back to the right. As you do that, Mario will be dizzy and you'll have some Cheep swimming around while Fishbones and Boost chase after you. Just keep moving and you should be able to avoid the enemies just fine. Go through the pipe in the lower right corner to leave the aquarium. Once you've left, you'll be on the final stretch of the stage. Just avoid the Podoboos and run to the right to reach the flagpole. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called the Haunted Fright Train Express, and it was created by Spanky1 on GameFAQs, or Spanky according to his nickname on his console. At the beginning of the stage, you'll need to power Mario up some. Enter the first door that you come across to get a Super Mushroom. After that, head directly to the right and break the bricks that lead to the next door. Keep taking the doors until you get to the pipe that leads to the train, and be sure to collect the fire flower from the question block right before it, of course. I love the use of the Super Mario Bros. 3 Skyland music throughout this stage. It fits the train ride really well, in my opinion. Throughout this section, the train will make its way to the right while you avoid or destroy the enemies that boarded during the trip. There are a couple of times where you'll have to get off and back on the train as well, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. This is one of the more creative levels that I played so far. I've always really liked trains. Heck, my hometown was a big railroad town back in the day. I love the creativity that went into making the train itself. I like the use of the grinders as wheels as well as the flamethrowers as smokestacks. This here is one of the spots where you'll have to get off the train. Just hop off, run forward, and then get back on. Use the giant cannonball to gain some extra height if you need to. We're not too much further from the end of the stage now. There are a couple more spots where I'll have to get off the train and back on, but that's about it. Pay attention to the flamethrowers whenever you board and exit the train. I'm sure that Mario would not appreciate you turning him into the Human Torch after all. Coming right up will be a question block that contains a vine. Move to the front of the train so you can hit the block ASAP. If you take too long, then you might get crushed between the wall and the back of the train. From here, the only thing that's left to do is climb to the pipe that leads to the goal. You'll come up to 3 question blocks, hit any of them to make a vine appear, and be quick because the train will start falling apart. Once you've made a vine appear, climb it and head through the pipe. From here, go to the right to end the level. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Escape the Narrow Question Block Maze, and it was created by Shellshock on GameFAQs, which is also his nickname on his console. As the name of the stage suggests, you're stuck inside of a really compressed maze that's made out of question blocks, and obviously your goal is to reach the end of the level and get out of the maze. It can be a little tricky to slip into some of the narrow spaces sometimes because you'll hold left or right but Mario won't go in. I'd recommend ducking and doing small hops. I like that there are coins in all of the empty spots in the maze. That makes it a little tougher to see the question block since everything is so yellow. You can easily get through the maze by staying along the top until you reach the goalpost. Once you've reached the end, it's easy to see what path you have to take to get out. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Splatoon-Octarian Remix version 2, and it was created by Cauldron on GameFAQs, or Bastion according to his nickname on his console. As to be expected, you'll be able to find a bunch of Inkling mystery mushrooms throughout the level, and you'll be taken from place to place via the skull lifts. This is probably my favorite Splatoon-related stage that I've played. Most of them have been underwater stages, so it's nice to play through one that's on land. I like that fireworks go off every time that you complete a base and board a skull lift. That's a nice little touch in my opinion. I actually still need to play Splatoon. I've heard great things about it, but as of this point in time I still haven't played it. I'll get it eventually though, I'm sure. After you go through several bases, you'll come up to a pipe that'll take you to the boss battle of the stage. The boss of this stage is a giant blooper that's hiding inside of a bunch of bricks. The objective is to go to the top and kick bob-ombs down to defeat the blooper. There are pipes on the upper left and the upper right that'll continually release them. Just jump on them and then push them onto the spring and kick them onto the bricks below. Yeah, if you haven't noticed by now, the custom music for this part will keep resetting itself as you move back and forth at the top. Don't mind it too much though. This part doesn't take very long to complete. It should only take you about 3 or 4 bob-ombs to defeat the blooper. Sometimes the bob-ombs won't start bouncing on the spring right away. If that happens, then just keep kicking it towards the spring until it does start bouncing. Once you've defeated the blooper, hop down and get a Karibo shoe and then press a P-switch and run to the right and go through the pipe to be at the end of the level. Alright, the flagpole is just to the right. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Route 1 Just Run, and it was created by Red Shell on GameFAQs, or Blue according to his nickname on his console. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Keepin' Hope Alive, and it was created by Random Crazy Dude on GameFAQs, or Arrogant Art according to his nickname on his console. Throughout this stage you're going to be riding some flying bricks to the left. While you do that, you'll have Magic Koopas firing their spells at you. If the spells hit any of the bricks, it'll turn them into something else. You'll also have thwomps above you that'll try to crush them, and even the occasional cannon that'll fire bob-ombs in an attempt to destroy them as well. Your objective is to reach the far left side of the stage without losing the entire platform. I'd recommend letting the enemies destroy the O and the P because that'll make it easier to lure their spells into one letter if you end up only having the H and the E later in the stage. That also creates a big gap in the middle for any bob-ombs to fall through. If you see any thwomps coming up, then I'd recommend getting on the far left of the platform because that'll make them fall early and they won't be able to crush any of the bricks. Once you've lost a pretty good chunk of the platform, the Magic Koopa spells won't have as much to hit, and so you'll have to start dodging them, so keep an eye out for that as you get deeper into the stage. Time for the next level. The next stage is called Metalhead Mario Can Move, and it was created by Mikey Rules 112 on GameFAQs, or Mikey Rules according to his nickname on his console. This is the creator's attempt at making a Super Mario 64 speedrun type stage. The level is pretty straightforward. Just keep following the paths to the right and take all of the doors that you come across. The speedrunning segment doesn't start until you've got the Metal Mario Mystery Mushroom. The Mystery Mushroom is located here. Once you become Metal Mario, run to the right and grab the Starman. From here, just keep running. Dash across the spikes and make sure to press the P-switch on your way across. Also make sure to keep collecting the Starmen as well, obviously. I love the Metal Mario theme that you hear whenever you get a star while playing as him. We're now at the end of the stage. Time for the next level. The next stage is called the Trap 2 60-second Escape, and it was created by Great Dementio on GameFAQs, or Fawful according to his nickname on his console. The stage starts off at the flagpole, but obviously it's a trap and you're forced to enter the pipe at the bottom. Whenever you get into the underground segment, you'll have to find a way out. Be sure to grab the super mushroom on the left and then get on top of the question block, duck, and then jump to make a vine appear. It can be a little tricky to reach the vine since you can only reach it by hopping off of the first block and you don't have much space to make the jump to the second one. Once you finally climb the vine, start running to the right. Don't stop running until you've reached the dead end. You'll come up to some piranha plants. Just run right through them. Drop down once you've reached the end and then make your way to the left a little bit. Either jump over or run under the wigglers and the clown cars. You don't need the fire flower, but you can get it if you want. We're on the final stretch of the stage now. From here, just keep running to the right. Don't stop running and you'll be just fine. Go through the pipe at the end of this section to be at the flagpole. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Slow Tanks, Fast Tanks, and it was created by Chickage Tonitris on GameFAQs, or Lucifer according to his nickname on his console. This is an auto-scrolling level that will have you moving from tank to tank as you progress through it. You start off with the slow-moving tanks, and you can stay with the slow-moving ones if you want. Every time that you enter a pipe, it'll take you between the two speeds. So if you're jumping across the slow tanks, then the pipe will lead you to the fast ones. Likewise, if you're jumping across the fast tanks, then you'll be taken to the slow ones. You can also enter the first pipe that you come across and complete the stage while going across all of the fast tanks if you'd like. I'm going to mix it up and go back and forth between the two, though. If you want the easiest time going through the stage, then I'd recommend going in each of the pipes that have 6 coins above them. We're on the final stretch of the stage now. We're going to be staying with the fast-moving tanks from this point on. Just do your best to avoid all of the cannonballs, flamethrowers, and whatever else gets shot at you. We are now at the end of the stage. Time for the next level. The next stage is called Trampoline Pit, and it was created by Number 43 on GameFAQs, or Walter according to his nickname on his console. This is a pretty short level. At the beginning you'll have to drop down into a large pit that's filled to the brim with springs. Just do your best to maneuver past them and bounce off of one that's standing upright so that you can get out of the pit. Once you've gotten out, make your way to the right to end the stage. Time for the next level. The next stage is called the Star-Spangled Bowser, and it was created by Mike on GameFAQs, or Guillermo according to his nickname on his console. Time for the next stage. The next stage is called Your New Best Frenemy, and it was created by Volant on GameFAQs, which is also his nickname on his console. The objective in this stage is to walk with the Koopa Troop all the way to the end. Since he's supposed to be our buddy, I'm going to name him George. As you work your way through the level, you'll have to protect George. There will be parts where you'll have to create bridges for him using P-switches, and there's also parts where you'll have to hang back a little bit so that you don't cause him to get crushed by a thwomp. Obviously make sure that you don't beat up on him yourself either. It might take a couple of minutes to finish this level since you have to go at George's pace and he moves really slow. I guess you can't blame him though, considering he's a turtle. This is going to be the final fan-made stage that I play. In the future I might play some more fan stages, but for now I'm ready to move on to something else. After completely remaking the original Super Mario Bros. And playing quite a few fan stages, I'm ready for a short break from the Super Mario Maker. I do know for a fact that I will have some more content for this game in the future though, because I have some ideas for stuff that I personally want to create, and I'll definitely be posting that stuff once it's finished, but that won't be for quite some time. Thanks again to everyone that submitted stages for this project. I really appreciate it, and I apologize if I didn't play your stage. George also says thank you to everyone. Looks like it's just you and me now, George. Say, how was that Raisin Bran pizza that you had this morning? I'm going to have to pass on that anchovy and marshmallow pizza that you made for lunch, though. You've really got to stop taking recipes from your cousin Michelangelo. By the way, how did he become humanoid? Don't want to talk about it, I guess? Well, regardless, your cousins don't seem to be too bad. They just have strange taste in pizza is all. That Splinter fellow sure has taught them some pretty fancy moves, wouldn't you say? I'd kinda like to learn some of that myself. Maybe then I wouldn't get pushed around by Mario. Heck, I might even be able to dethrone Bowser if I could fight as well as them. But who am I kidding? They're always busy fighting crime and dealing with Shredder and Krang. I don't think that they'd have the time to teach us anything. I'd also hate to ask Splinter for help since he's already got his hands full with your cousins as it is. Wonder how come Bowser doesn't try to get his hands on a Technodrome. Instead he just sticks to that puny little clown car. Some tyrant he is, am I right? Oh, by the way, I never did tell you why I brought you here, did I, George, old buddy, old pal? Well, I found a small castle that has some nice treasure in it, but I need your help getting it. Oh, and one more thing. I'm going to be keeping it all for myself. I'll see you in Shell, old friend. And please, tell Belle that I'm doing well. Bye-bye, Koopa Stoopa.